Yo, what's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. It's April 13th, and the markets are melting down. Um, on my Twitter feed, I talked about this news that came out. Obviously, in other parts of the world, there are clear issues happening, whether it's attacks, wars, whatever you want to call it. But this is clearly the one thing that's shaking up crypto markets for sure. And why specifically crypto markets? Because cryptos are liquid and they're risk on, meaning they're a high beta asset class compared to something like equities or gold or bonds. And so you generally, if you have a portfolio of, let's just say, commodities like gold and oil, palladium, and then you have equities like US stocks, Nvidia, and then you have bonds in your portfolio, you're probably going to start getting rid of crypto first, right? Because it contains the highest amount of risk, very speculative, very volatile. So this kind of stuff happening over the weekend, especially, today's Saturday, US equities are closed. They're not going to open till tomorrow in the evening, which is when the futures open. Um, Crypto markets are basically pricing in right now some external risk that's going on, and that's shaking up the markets right now. So what am I doing in this moment? I am bidding. I am bidding and I'm buying because I was kind of joking around with one of my members here in Discord that, listen, I have not been over levered or have had any leverage since January. So I'm not concerned about that. I've had cash waiting on the side for a long time, right? I was not fully in cash, by the way. Like I've had, pretty large size spot positions. I talk about all this stuff in my Discord, by the way. There's a link below if you want to join the Discord. The free side, like I give, people access to all the locked channels, which is the paid side for a couple of days, just so you can get an experience of how I operate in this Discord channel. But I usually post my position updates of, exactly the things I'm buying, levels that I'm watching. I post, an altcoin analysis, what levels I'd be looking for. See, for example, I've been waiting for, 125 as a level for a while, right? 125 here is here. So I'm buying. What everyone generally does in moments like this is when they see a market melting down like this, first of all, you're too scared to buy. And I get it, right? I get that. But if your long-term view is that you believe things like Salana, things like DGen token are here for the long play, right? I don't want to think too much about buying at key levels that I've spoken about for days or weeks or months. I'm just going to buy and leave the rest to the universe, right? If we're truly going to have like a World War III style war, I mean, we're kind of fucked anyway. So I don't believe that is the kind of world we're living in right now. I don't believe there's going to be a World War III. I don't believe the world is coming to an end. So for now, I think this is just noise, right? I think this is noise that will get squashed probably in the next couple of weeks. And then markets have already kind of priced in that risk, right now because of these kinds of significant moves that you're seeing. And so before the markets start pricing in that, oh, this is not a big deal, guess what happens to markets when you realize it? Markets are already back here. When you start to realize, like, oh, we're not going to war, there's not a World War III, the world is not melting down, markets have already begun bottoming out and begun their local uptrend, right? So in key moments of panic, I've told people before, I have a set of watch lists and things that I want to buy and levels that I've mapped out, and cash that I've set aside, and I just buy, right? I don't think about it too much. I don't want to think about it too much. Um, and that's it. Okay. By the way, anything I say in this video is not financial advice. Please, like, don't follow me because my risk tolerance, my capital, the way I live life, the way I allocate capital to crypto may be very different than yours. you may need money next month for rent, or you may need, this money, I don't know, to appreciate in value in the next, 2 months instantly. But maybe it takes a longer period of time for the market to bottom. Maybe the things that you buy may not be the same things that I buy, right? So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. So not financial advice. But I'm going to today give you guys a rundown of exactly how and why I'm looking at key things, and how and why I'm going to start, pulling the trigger and buying these things. Okay. So first things first, DGen, which is a L3 chain. I just bought this in pretty large size, and I'm going to buy some more if I get to this level down here around like 0.014. For that to happen, right? So for example, like if we zoom in a little bit more, okay, for that to happen, DGen chain over the last, let's just say 12, 14 hours is already down 30%. If it really nukes, it's going to be down 50% in the next, I don't know, like the next 12 hours, let's just say, right? Do I think that can happen? Possibly. Do I need to bet on it and wait down here? No. So I already began buying. All right. So full disclosure, I've already begun buying. I've already posted this on my Warcast, like, hey, I'm buying DGen in size here. I've already also picked up a couple of, alts like Salana and Prime. So full disclosure, I've had BTC and ETH like compounded for the last 2 cycles. So I don't really need to buy these here unless, I'm buying like the wick, and I'm buying a little bit of leverage, but I don't see the need for that yet. All right. So Solana and DGen, right? Those are the two assets that I have bought already, and I have patience just in case it drops some more, and I will buy some more. Maybe, my level of 125, 130 may not hold. Maybe we nuke further down to like 100 or 90 or 80. I don't know. But I know that I've been waiting on this level for a long time, and I'm going to buy today, right? So we know that Solana has been struggling as of late simply because the chain itself has been kind of shitty. Like transactions have not been going through, network is congested. Obviously, there's a lot of issues, right? But Solana, from the local high, which we have right there, to now, let's just say the local low we had, it's down 44%. Sure, you can make, the wishes of it being down 60 or 70% where it gets like 70 or $80, but I don't know, maybe that's like really being, very, very wishful, and maybe even borderline like delusional. So maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But also, if it does happen, what are the chances that you're going to be up or your order fills at the exact spot? Anyway, same thing with DGen. With DGen, I spoke about, some of this kind of fractal-like analysis that I did. If you look at this, consolidation before the big run-up, had a pullback of about 90%, grinded out for like a good half a month, close to a month, and then, broke out to new massive highs. I think same thing is kind of happening, especially as April and May are, rocky, let's just say. As April and May are rocky, I would expect this kind of basing period to happen. Maybe we get to this level 0.014 approximately. If that does happen, again, I would buy in large size. And then I would expect this kind of fractal to play out with what kind of similarly happened here. And then, of course, I think for me, like, I've spoken about why I think DGen is going to be an incredible, incredible play for the future, which is something like this, right? If you look at Polygon's market cap, which is $8 billion, Cardano's market cap, which is 20 billion, and Solana's market cap, which is 75 billion. I think once it starts increasing, Solana's market cap could probably be, let's just say 200 or 300 billion by the end of this cycle. Maybe that's end of this year or next year, I don't know. But now if we start looking at, where prices and market cap is for DGen chain currently, well, we're here now, right? So I guess stretch this down a little bit further. So where does that put us? Okay, that puts us for Polygon's market cap around a 3,400% gain, right? For Cardano's market cap, it's about an 8,500% gain, and for the Solana future market cap and DGen chain being 1/4 of that market cap, let's just say 75 billion, that puts us around a 32,000% gain, right? Now, again, I'm not trying to extrapolate and give you price predictions because this is not investment advice. I'm just showing you in general, like what I think of the market at large and how it might price things headed into the future, right? Something like DGen chain. So I'm incredibly bullish on L3s. I think they're going to do relatively well. I've spoken about this, numerous times, which is that you guys need to start joining Warcast. My invite link is below. Please do join. If you do join, send me a message that you've joined through my invite link. I'll happily send you some DGen tokens. Okay. But the point is you want to join Warpcast because you have the ability to earn DGen tokens. And every comment, every like, every tweet or cast or thread that you make on Warpcast has the potential for you to earn DGen tokens because people might tip you, right? Your direct involvement in channels, you may get tipped. For example, Reply Guys is a great channel where sometimes you just get tipped for replying. Like, I don't know, you post a funny meme or you post a thoughtful thought. Like sometimes people have been giving me, like yesterday, I think someone gave me, I don't know where it was. So someone had just gifted me some DGen tokens. I forgot where it was, but let me see here. I think it was right there. Yeah, see, someone gave me 1,000 DGen tokens, right? I don't know what that is. Maybe that's what is that? Like $2 or sorry, $20? Is that $20? Yeah, that's very nice of him, right? But that's $20 that you just get for free, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on my $20. But yeah. Anyway, point is it's free tokens, right? Free tokens for just answering, something that I already knew that I was already going to post. I have no expectation. And also, by the way, if you do come to this platform, do not ever beg for tips. You will, people will not like it, they'll hate it, and they'll never tip you. Okay. So your job is to be on platforms and be curious and, add some value and post some funny content and be engaging. And then people might tip you. I might tip you. Okay. So I just want to give you guys that insight. Then after that, I've told you all about Dracula, right? Which is like a social-fi platform. I've posted a bunch of videos on here, different things that I talk about, sometimes, videos from my life, places that I've been. I post them here. And this is basically like, let's just say your Instagram on base chain. But here you can also earn, DGen tokens, right? Like people can buy your DGen token. They can tip you DGen tokens for your content, your ability for the DGen ecosystem. So for example, DGen.tips, right? They may see that, oh, this person is very active on social-fi platforms like Dracula. He's very active on Warpcast. He's using all the products that are connected to DGen. And sometime in the future, you may just get, let's just say free money or an airdrop. Okay. So that is why these L3s are particularly important. Okay. I've also spoken about, NFT DGen, which is a place where you can buy, NFTs on the DGen chain. You have a domain, what is it? DGen name, this thing right here. This is where you can buy domain names, right? So all this stuff you can buy, on the DGen chain. And this is, future potential opportunity for you to make, more DGen tokens or more money, if you will, however you want to look at that. Okay. So I just want to say, none of this is financial advice, and these are holdings that I already hold. So of course I'm going to talk about them because if I believe in something, right, I'm going to talk about it. This is my channel, my view of the market, my view of how I see crypto panning out. If you have a different view, you're free to express your view. If you think that L3s and degen chain is not going to do well, talk about it, right? Convince me why it's not going to. Convince me that there's something better. I often talk about Salana. I love Salana. Solana is one of my largest positions in that I traded a lot. I use the network a lot. I have a lot of NFTs on Solana. I have a bunch of money staked on Solana. Basically, up until maybe like February, I think I was spending like January or February, I was spending maybe 80% of my time on Solana. From the beginning of the year, January, I started to spend more and more time on base. And now it's mid-April, I spend probably like 60 to 70% time on base chain, as well as degen chain, right? Now, what are some other opportunities in the market? Okay. This is another token that I've been mentioning to people, which is going to be quite possibly another L3 chain. Now I think L3 chains are going to definitely be a thing, right? I've spoken about this. I bookmarked this somewhere. Let me see where I bookmarked it, right? So, a couple of days back, I had the opportunity of meeting some really smart people who are founders and builders and developers, some who are, in the biz dev teams of large projects in Ethereum. And some of them I also met from like other chains too, but it was mostly the Ethereum project. Sorry, the Ethereum ecosystem. And one thing that we kind of spoke about was that the narrative and the idea of L3s. Like you guys already know that, base chain is already a big thing, right? Base chain is a Coinbase created chain. It's a pretty vast ecosystem that's coming out. They obviously have a ton of money to keep building and growing. But I think what's interesting about base chain is that there's no way to actively like bet on base chain. You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, Solana ecosystem, you could bet on Solana, the token. Ethereum ecosystem, you can bet on Ethereum, the token. Injective ecosystem, you could bet on Injective, the token. However, same thing with degen, right? Degen ecosystem, you get to bet on degen. With base chain, there's no base token, and I would probably say there never will be, because base is a Coinbase connected ecosystem. Coinbase is already a public company that trades on the stock market, right? They cannot take the risk of creating a token with the risk of it being called a security. So because there's likely not going to be a token, sure, base ecosystem will do well, but how do people bet on base? Rather a proxy of base and betting on base indirectly. And I think that bet is L3s, or more specifically, degen, right? So degen as an ecosystem, I think, is the proxy bet of basically betting on base, because you have no other way, first of all, for now, to get onto degen ecosystem other than going through base. Like I think you could go through optimism and stuff, but mostly people who are already on base go directly into degen. Even myself, I've ported over a bunch of money into the degen chain, right? So I sit in the degen chain and I wait for opportunities, with my degen tokens to explore. But the other thing is, um, in terms of L3s, there's not going to be that many L3s, as of right now, right? There's degen chain, and then there's this one, ham. If you go to /LP channel, you could find Deployer. He's the creator of the LP channel as well as the ham token. The ham token works almost exactly the same way as degen token does in Warcast, where you get tipped in these little ham tokens. And people will tip you, and you basically now have those tips that you can withdraw and use or sell. But sooner or later, there's going to be an L3 blockchain called ham chain. Okay, so I have word from the developer, like this is going to be a thing, and it is going to be built on the OP stack, similar to Degen chain. And they have already, a good amount of users, like 16 to 20,000 active users. So once that chain starts up, it could be like Degen chain. And the ticker for the ham chain is called TN100X. So obviously, it's already up like $21 million. Today is a pretty rough day for the market across the board. But I think, for the most part, one thing I was looking at was there's a bunch of people who have clearly, started to add liquidity and buy the token and realize like, hey, if this is going to be another L3, maybe it's going to, compete with the Degen token, right? Obviously, Degen token is first to market. It has a direct bridge from base. TN100X or the ham token, we don't know when the chain is going to be active, right? We also don't know what kind of apps they're going to build, how active it is. Are they going to be able to steal users away from Degen chain, right? So we don't know those things. So that's why it's a slightly more riskier bet, but one that you may want to do research in, right? It's free to do research. It's free to go into the LP channel and start looking around and reading information, asking questions. Okay, so L3 is obviously going to be a narrative, right? I've already told you all about mint.club. There's a ton of different meme coins on here. You can go to all assets here. You'll see what's active on the Degen chain. Well, there's all these different assets, right? Degen Pepe or Depe, Senez, United States of Degen, Exit. A lot of these are meme coins, by the way. In fact, I think they're all meme coins, so be very, very careful. So point is, in these assets, right, you want to be careful of, recognizing that they may not pan out. Some of the meme coins might just go to zero, or they might just slowly, continuously bleed out. I buy meme coins here and there, but I'm not someone who's like betting on meme coins because I think they're going to be the future and this has to go up, 100x or 1000x. Like, not really. I think the best bets right now are, things like the Degen chain, which is already an established layer 3 chain. I think the other, best bet is something like, an Ethereum or a Salana, chain bet, right? This is how I am kind of playing the market right now. And then, of course, I already told y'all, earning the Degen tokens and being involved in things like Dracula, SocialFi, Warcast. There's also this thing called, I think it's called Beam, where you can earn money or Degen tokens by simply, they have like puzzles and stuff, I think, to be able to, you could solve like a Wordle or a puzzle and you can earn some money that way. There's many different options that are happening within the Warpcast ecosystem. I can't even keep up with it, to be honest. But the point is, you might have a different flavor. Like, for example, I'm very involved in swatches. I own a bunch of these, swatch NFTs, right? I really like them. So if this is kind of your flavor and you like betting on art, well, then you have this option. Yesterday, I spoke about another NFT that just got released on the base blockchain. It's called D-Gentleman. Okay, kind of similar to D-Gods or Mad Lads. I don't know if they're going to do well at all, but point is, I like the art. I think it's cool, and I'm going to buy some and I'm going to collect some, right? So you can, find the D-Gentleman art here. You can go here, and you can kind of find out, what exactly is their NFT about. What do they do? You can go to OpenSea and you can find swatches also here, right? What are the swatches trading at? And FYI, when swatches came about, they were trading at 0.03 or 0.04 when I mentioned it. When I first mentioned it. Now they trade at a 0.14 multiple, right? So that's that's almost a 3x. Okay. So I provide, many video opportunities and insights of things that I'm buying, things that I'm interested in. Sure, not all of them may do well. Some of them might go down in the near term, but generally, like when I talk about something, I'm either very interested in it and I've done a lot of research, or I already own it. And I'm definitely going to talk about it because I'm either buying more or I think they're going to do really, really well, right? Everybody generally talks their book, meaning they're going to talk about things that they already own or thinking about buying or they're thinking about adding. No one talks about things that they hate. You know what I mean? Like in crypto, like why would you waste your time? Like if I hate, I don't know, something like Dogecoin. I don't hate Dogecoin, but the point is, if I hate Dogecoin, why would I give it airtime? Why would I talk about it? you know so most people will talk about things that they like, things that they appreciate, things that they ascribe value to, and so things like the Ethereum ecosystem I ascribe value to. Things like Salana, which I think is going to do well, I ascribe value to. It's the same thing with degen, and same goes for things like swatches. The D-Gentleman also same thing, right? Keep an eye on the D-Gentleman because again, they're trading relatively cheap. I mean, 0.0195 is like, I think that's like $50 or $60. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a pretty good deal, right? If you like NFTs, that is. It's a horrible deal if you hate NFTs and you are definitely trying to trade it, because $50 could be zero in like 3 or 6 months. I have no idea if these NFTs are going to do well. I just like the look of them, right? I like the look of them. And, if some of them do well in the future, great. If they don't, well, I got something cool to, hang on to, right? Also, D-Gentlemen have a channel, a community that they speak about, that their project. So ask questions, get involved, right? Cool. What else are we talking about? So talk about Mint Club, talk about Warcast, get involved, talked about NFTs, base ecosystem, degen being the proxy bet. Yeah, so right now, again, we're kind of in that phase where markets are melting down, things are going to get really shaky, and I want to point out one thing, like it's the middle of April, right? If you go back to, let's just say, I think 2021, if I'm not mistaken, I remember like April, what's it? Yeah, I think it was somewhere over here. Yeah, so April. Okay, this is middle of April. This is what happened after April all the way into June, July 2021. It was a massive, massive shakeout. Like BTC went from, mid-April high down to the July lows of 50%. Now, granted, that was after the halving, and that was after, like the halving 2022 happened right here, right? So BTC after the halving, okay, from this point up until mid-April over here had gone up 600%. We've also gone up a pretty tremendous amount in BTC, but not 600% kind of like post halving. But we also have the halving coming up here. And guess what? In the halving time back in 2020, there's a lot of shakiness over here, right? You had drops of about 20%, real tightening of the range and coiling up that happened before we pushed up, a whole lot of chop before we finally broke out by the end of the year 2020, or rather, end of Q3 2020. Okay. That's also entirely possible this time around in BTC, where you may have somewhat of a wider shakeout, base building, and then September, October, November, December 2024, we may push, up until 85, 90, 100K. And then by the end of, Q1 2025, we reach somewhere up here. That's possible, right? But what about your altcoins? How will they do in a scenario like that? Well, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be really, really bad, and you're gonna feel really shitty, like you pretty much lost all your money. But if you stick around the market and you do your research, there's a plenty of opportunities that may come up. New projects, new chains, new gaming projects, new NFTs, right? Maybe a completely new narrative. Maybe some new meme coin pops up. So the point of this is that you always want to, in your peripheries, pay attention to these markets, because they're not going to tell you when they've bottomed. They're definitely not going to tell you when they've begun a new bull market. So the only way to stick around and understand that is being involved, right? Asking questions, watching content like this, I don't know, joining my Discord, asking me questions on Warcast, right? Whatever I post as an update, which I do often, like I'll post updates like this. I'll post my thoughts on the market, and you can ask questions, right? So anyway, hang tight, stay involved. Don't over lever up, because it could get really, really rough for the next, couple of weeks or couple of months. So yeah, just be cautious in the markets. Good luck to everybody. Yeah, take care. And if y'all have any questions, shoot them my way. Okay. All right, everybody, take care. Cheers.